Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking another look here at Bitcoin. Obviously seeing what we can do to anticipate the next steps because it does look like we're hitting at the resistance level again. We could potentially break to the upside as we did before. We could also break down as well. So we'll just kind of look at some things that kind of might help us indicate which direction it might head. There's really truly no guarantees in either direction, but I've been kind of saying for a little while, and whomever comments in my videos and says I've been saying that the price is going to turn around soon is right. That's absolutely correct. I'm holding to that because I do feel that Bitcoin will retrace at least a little bit. If it doesn't, it would be problematic in the sense that we might see a strong decrease later. So we want correction now. That's just honestly the best way to go. So I prefer that because then it's more consistent, more easy to anticipate than it is if it just keeps on making higher highs and higher lows and doesn't ever slow down, right? So that's the whole concept. So if you're new to the channel, just keep in mind, I really just love teaching people to trade. 17 years of experience. I've been trading and teaching for a long time. So I hope you can learn something here if you want to learn a lot more. CryptoCash.tech is a site where you can become a community member. Really awesome opportunity there. We got a new website unveiling at the end of this month. We also got some fantastic traders in our community too. We're all learning and growing together. It's a really cool experience. Congratulations also as well on some signals that we sent out here recently. It pales in comparison to that 4,000% gain, but you can see we took 33% in 2 hours from Gala, and then BNB ultimately 59% in 9 hours, hitting our fourth target. So again, those are just some normal things that you get as part of the community as well. Fully automated trading. Same thing as well here with Bitget too. Phenomenal exchange. Be sure to use them. Link down below if you want to qualify for a prize pool monthly. I think there's a registration bonus right now as well going on. Furthermore, also you will need a VPN. Got you covered also in regard to that. ExpressVPN, I've been using them for a long time too, and it's really cool to be partnered with them here recently. So thank you Express and Bitget for making our community a better place. So here's something we want to touch on. Bitcoin's kind of drawing dead. Traditional markets are kind of even right now, and not a lot is going on. We got a lot of red in the market generally because most things are correcting themselves, being overextended. Bitcoin doesn't look like it wants to pull back, so there's obviously that little bit on the horizon. Every little decrease from Bitcoin is essentially allowing altcoins to significantly decrease in value. So keep in mind, Bitcoin corrects itself 2 or 3%, perhaps even 5%. We'd see somewhere in the range of 10 to 15% from altcoins. So be mindful of that. If you are in a profitable position, maybe consider taking some profits. So if the price does come back down, you still have some money in the game for later, but if it goes up, you've taken some profits and you still have some options with some skin in the game. I personally like to close 70-80% of my initial target at target 1 or 2, and then let the rest ride, see where it goes. Again, different strategies, but that's kind of the concept here, the general sense of what the market's doing right now. It does look like we are due for a pullback, but if we could actually see a very similar behavior to last time. So we take a look here, we got this increase followed by a type of pennant pattern, and then the price shoots up through that resistance level. We got a very similar situation occurring here as well, and it could increase, but you got to keep in mind, the more times you stack pennant patterns or bull flag patterns, bear flag, whatever the concept is, whatever the pattern is, the consistency in doing that over and over and over again becomes dramatically lower. In other words, you can, yes, sometimes see 2 bull flags or bull pennants break out in a row, but the likelihood is extremely low. We saw a few of those last year or the year before when things went parabolic for Bitcoin and other altcoins were doing so, but Bitcoin is just now getting started. It needs to correct itself soon, otherwise we're going to run into a similar problem. So let's take a look here at TD sequential, right? We have this extreme overextension, continues up further. To me, that's just a very greedy, right? In the general sense of things, that shouldn't have happened, but it did. Now that we're here, we see a very similar circumstance. I mean, it looks very, very much identical in a lot of ways to this previous one here, right? So when you see those kind of patterns occur consistently, that's okay, but if you see them happen 2, 3, 4 times in a row, they're less likely to continue to occur, okay? So to me, the statistical probability of the price shooting up from here is lower than it is going down. It's just kind of the way that the numbers are telling us, right? So that's just my personal opinion. You can disagree, that's perfectly fine, but just letting you know that that's kind of what we're at right now. We're about 6 days of continuation into this new trend that only had a very short amount of time of consolidation. How much more further can we go? I don't know. It doesn't make a ton of sense. So, again, I'm not telling you to short your shirt off, but you should definitely consider taking a position at a lower price point because there's a strong chance it should come down, but we'll see. So taking a look at that, Concurrently, that with the RSI being overextended, makes sense for the price to pull back, because the last time we were overextended for longer than a week was like over 2 or 3 years ago, and it's not very consistent for the price to stay this high for this long. Okay, so again, the odds are kind of against us. Are you going to bet against the house or for the house? It really just depends on what side of this the tracks you want to be on. There's nothing wrong with going long right now per se, because I think the overall trend is up. I think we're still going to continue to uptrend for the most part until we hit that 26,000 resistance area. But right now, where we're at presently, it would make a lot more sense for the price to pull back, because we're losing momentum on every single indicator, and the price just looks like it wants to retrace. Good news, good consolidation, kind of a consolation, if you will, is that we got the 200-day SMA averaging itself out at 19.6. That's right in that same range of that CME gap that we saw that needs to get filled still. 19,900 to 21,000 is that range. So we should experience some kind of pullback to either this area or the very first in bounce. Okay, so to me, 21.6 seems like a likely bouncing point. But I think somewhere just below that, we could very well see that correction down to that 19.9 range, and then a continuation upwards from there. So me personally, I think 20,000 is the most immediate lowest point we'll see to fill that gap, and then continue higher. I mean, I would love and welcome a bounce down to 20,000 and up. I think that'd be perfect. Again, we can't always get what we want. You got to deal with what you got, but on a general sense here, that's where we're at there for the macro. So the macro looks overall, not ominous, but definitely not beneficial, right? It doesn't look great. Bitcoin dominance is drawing dead as well, and a lot of alts are coming down. That does tell you that money is staying into Bitcoin, and there's a good chance we could see that decrease. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a quick peek here at the 4 hour and kind of start wrapping things up here. Sorry, I'm getting a little wordy on the big picture, but again, this is that general sense of what we saw here with the flag patterns, and we're seeing a very similar circumstance here again. So once more, based on patterns, it looks like it wants to break out to the upside. It keeps retesting that level. But based on overextension, it should come down, right? So when you kind of have those two factors in, which one is stronger, a lot of times patterns will overcome the actual overextensions, okay? So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a breakout, but I would absolutely be surprised if it sustains its price point after breaking out. That being said, on the 4 hour, we are tapering off, coming closer to 50, which is good, because if you see last time, look, it came down to bounce off of 50. So it was nice to kind of get this little, this increase here, and then kind of just comes and tapers off and then continues upwards. If we have that similar pattern here, we could very well see another breakout where the price kind of averages itself out and bounces. Okay, so again, for the most part, when you see a bounce, it'll be the previous high working as a new low. So that's why I have 21,700 as a rough estimate kind of marked here, so I can reevaluate if the price comes down that low to see if it's worth getting in. Again, reevaluate, not just blindly jump in. That's the strategy there, right? Because you want to make sure you know what's going on before you jump in. That being said, everything else looks fairly neutral, I guess you could say. So the 4 hour isn't like super telling, but it doesn't imply that if we get a bounce off of 50, we could see it go higher. If we break below 50, I personally think we're going to see, once again, that CME gap potentially get filled. Taking a look at the 1 hour, we can see here that there isn't tremendous amount of indication that we are overextending ourselves to the upside or downside. Okay, we're getting 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s, pretty consistent there, which just tells us we're consolidating nicely. And then we also are remaining above the cloud, but in periods of consolidation can kind of give us some false positives. So at this point, I don't really see any firm indications of a breakout to the upside or downside, even though I do feel like it makes more sense for the price to come down. We could still see those pennant type patterns get fulfilled on the larger time frames. Okay, so I would not be surprised if we do see one more breakout before a potential decrease from there, right? It's just kind of looking like it might want to try to break out. But here's the thing: the more frequent you look at candlestick patterns, the less likely they are to happen, right? They can't keep happening in a row. That's why when you see things in pairs in trading, typically the third or fourth day things reverse themselves. So again, I think we're at that point right now where a pullback would make sense, but it would also make sense if the price keeps going up, right? That's just how nonsensical things can be in cryptocurrency sometimes. So a lot of times the best TA is ultimately not even a factor when it comes to situations like these. So once more, candlestick patterns could be the indicating factor here, but if that candlestick pattern doesn't come to fruition, I think it'd be more likely to see the price decrease. Okay, but once more, we have a lot of new money in the market, and we got to recognize that there's a little bit more buying power now than there is selling pressure. that overall sense of things does kind of imply that further upside might be more likely. Okay, so I apologize for not giving you a definitive direction. I know people are like, hey, what the heck? I want to know if it goes up or down. Well, sometimes, in technical analysis or just trading in general, you never truly know which direction things are going to go, and you want to kind of hesitate to take entry and wait on the sidelines. We took some nice profits yesterday from BNB and Gala. I'm perfectly fine with waiting for more opportunities at the right time. It's important not to push the buck too much, even though this does feel like we could see a reversal. Okay, so either way, that's kind of where we're at here for now. Ultimately, I think staying on the sidelines might be the best, most effective move. If you're going to short, make sure they're really tight profit targets. Same thing with longs too. You just can't go too greedy in this market right now because there's just so much, there's a lot of opportunity, but there's a lot of volatility and the price action is acting very funny lately. Bitcoin's being kind of strange. There's no doubt about it. All right, thanks again for watching me. Hopefully you learned something here today. If you want to learn a lot more, cryptocash.tech is the site. Link down below. I look forward to working with you. Have a great rest of the day. We'll see you.